knew this night was going to be her last. She'd become a burden. She was irritable, unforgiving, and she demanded too much. It didn't pay to keep her in Carlo's extensive entourage. Plus, there were much younger and much more splendid Ukrainian beauties who were grateful and willing for anything. She only lasted as long as she did because Carlo liked habits and predictability, and perhaps he even felt a certain devotion to her, though Carlo was anything but sentimental. Nina had painstakingly built up a store of heroin and hid it behind the refrigerator's compressor. There was enough for her and Gabriela if they were disciplined and sensible, for at least a month. She wanted to bolt, with Gabriela, go cold turkey with the girl, somewhere. Lazarus had come to the bedroom where Nina had been lying naked in the crumpled sheets. He hadn't sensed her, but had a brief whispered conversation with Carlo, the final preparations for her death, no doubt. Lazarus would put her down like a pet, then into the motorized wood chipper in the barn, and feed the pigs in the pen behind the farmhouse. But Carlo had been stoned by sex and coke. He'd waved Lazarus away like an annoying fly, then he had fallen asleep. Nina had gotten up, found a bread knife and cut the throat of Carlo Davalos, South Europe's most reliable trafficker of young women and girls down to 13 years of age, from Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, and the Baltic countries. Auctions were held solely for Carlo's sake in Kiev, Sofia, Riga, and Bucharest. Girls stood on a podium in a cold, abandoned industrial hall, naked, doped on diazepam, hungry, staring straight ahead. Behind the projector sat Carlo and his competitors, studying the girls as though they were at a livestock fair. An alcoholic gynecologist had examined them all. If the girl was a virgin, someone would spray paint a black V on her stomach over the sparse pubic hair. The most beautiful virgins were sent to Carlo's Armenian business partners, who exported them to the Middle East dynasties. Arab princes preferred virgins. Carlo always said they were afraid of comparisons, and that Arabs were notorious for their small genitalia. Then she'd gotten dressed and cast one look at him, at his staring, praying, deeply surprised eyes. The blood stood out like a banner from the cut arteries in his throat. She had pulled the sleep-drunk Gabriela with her through both the night and the orchards to the old and used but functional car she had bought with cash, using Carlo's money, and had hidden behind a closed-down cinema in the nearest village. She prepared the escape as well as she could, had forced herself to eat and drink the last few weeks, despite the heroin dulling her appetite and her being as thin as a reed. After her morning fix, she lay in the fetal position for 3 or 4 hours without sensing or thinking anything. But then, on the good days, Nina had a few hours where she was relatively cognitive and able to do things. She knew Carlo was hiding a large amount of cash in the opening in the wall behind the fridge, and she knew the money was never touched on the weekends. She had hidden the bundles of banknotes by attaching them to her thighs with duct tape, under her summer dress, and then transported them to the car on brief nightly excursions. And as if by a miracle, she found her and Gabriela's passports between the banknotes. She had taken them as a sign from Providence that she was finally doing the right thing. For a moment, nobody moved. It was as though a spring in the clock had been tightened. The rain subsided, and Carlo lit one of his gold-filtered cigarettes, which she had always loathed. Then he loosened his tie, unbuttoned 2 shirt buttons, and showed her the half circle of purple scar tissue that lay like an extra mouth above the base of his neck. He regarded her with infinite hatred. "Your handiwork, cara mia. Are you proud of yourself? I was asleep. And when you woke up, Lazarus was going to cut my throat." The giant with the long grey hair moved ever so slightly. Carlo conjured a syringe with a needle from an inside pocket. A clear drop of fluid sprouted from the needle tip. "You've become useless and intolerable, Nina. Women have their time, and they'd be doing everyone a favor if they disappeared from the face of the earth when they were done." "Does this apply to your mother, too?" Carlo's single human trait.